it's time for another review. Hello, thanks once again for tuning in to the channel. Today we're looking at the 1/6 scale General Grievous from the Star Wars series. This is actually a newer version of the figure that Sideshow have released a few years back. So we're going to take a look, check out all the accessories, and then maybe do some size comparisons because this is a pretty big guy and we'll see where we can go. So let's get started and taking a look at the insides. So this here, oh, seems kind of weird. Okay, so the accessories are here on the inside on the tab, and it looks like the rest of the figure is on the inside. So just for the sake of those that are getting it, when you open her up, that's pretty much all the accessories there. We're going to open it up and get a closer look at those. But just so you'll know, when you open up your box, that's what it's going to look like. And when you see the guy himself, you see there's got a cover over it. So let's remove that. And see. Oh, still more cover. Leave you in suspense. There we go. Here's the guy himself. So that's what he'll look like when you get him out of the package. So we're definitely going to get a closer look at all the details here, everything that he has to offer. And then we'll get a closer look at the eyes and everything else. But let's take a look at the accessories. So as I'm getting this out, I'm going to say I do kind of find this whole thing kind of comical because I have been collecting figures for several years, and I kind of told myself I wasn't going to collect any Star Wars figures because Star Wars is just such a wide area. There's so many characters, so many unique characters, so many characters that have been released over the years, and so I just kind of stuck to Marvel and DC figures, and now here it is, I'm getting into this, going down to the rabbit hole thanks to the Mandalorian, and now I'm getting to this Star Wars stuff, and here I am doing an unboxing for a General Grievous figure. So I just find that kind of comical. But here's the cloth for the cape. You can see all the detail in that. That looks really good. I like all the detail in that. The design. Get you a closer look at the fabric. It looks really good in the fabric. These are the compartments here where he holds all his lightsaber hilts. And you can see there's even designs for the logos there. Let me see if you can get a closer look at that. So you have that, and then I guess it comes around and snaps there. But we'll definitely check that out in a moment. But for now, I think the detail is really good. Just so you know, there's no wire. There's no wire in the cape at all. They just have it so that it just kind of drapes down. But it looks pretty good. I like the material. So let's see what else we get. Looks like we got a few sabers here. They look pretty good. Let's take a look at the staff here. See that? It looks pretty good. Lightning effect on that. This is not real metal. As a matter of fact, the whole staff is plastic. But still like the detail in it. Looks pretty good. Has a little bit of a weight to it, but for the most part it's pretty light. So it's yeah, totally plastic piece. And let's take a look at the blaster. There's really not much detail to it. I mean, it kind of looks like it was all just, you know, just like, it looks all one even color. There's really no weathering or anything on it. That's, well, I'd say a little disappointing. It doesn't have any wear onto it, but I mean, as far as the detail, I mean, it looks good. It looks well done. But it would have been nice to have like a little bit of weathering on it so you can see it a little bit, you know. But it's not there. And we'll take a look at the lightsabers that he has. Here's one of them. Let's see if we can get the focus there. There we go. And, you know, just the same as all the other lightsabers that Sideshow puts out. None of these light up. They just have you know, just the effect of just a, you know, different color blade, but nothing lights up. Let's take a look at another. The blue blade. It's got two with the blue blades and two with the green, which, you know, obviously they were the ones that he took from other Jedi. But I gotta say the detail in the hilts look really good. I mean, they're pretty well done. You got a nice shine to it, but it looks really good. And let's see, let's take a look at the last one. Again, these are all just plastic. There's not really, you know, no metal pieces to it. That's just, they just put a shine on the plastic. But it looks, overall looks okay. And then we have all the hilts, the same hilts, for him to have them inside the cloak that he has. I'm going to get all four of them out there so you can see them all at once here. Another interesting little thing, you can see them all together, they're actually magnetic. So that I did not know, but as you can see, there's all four hilts together, but when I put them together, they actually all stick. So you see there's a magnet in there, but again, it still doesn't, you know, feel metal. It looks like it's just you know, magnets put on the inside of, you know, plastic casing, because all of these still feel like plastic, but they're all magnetic. But still, the detail in them are looking really good. So there's one. There's another. And here's another. And the last. So overall they look pretty good. So we'll definitely put these out for you know, when we put them inside the cloak and see how they turn out. But that's pretty interesting that they're all magnetic pieces. So, and then the last piece that we have is this is the display that he has. Obviously, for the size of the figure, I believe this is the same stand that they use for the other General Grievous, because again, it's a heavy figure, so he's got a lot of weight to him. So naturally, they're going to put this kind of base where you can, you know, put him in different poses, and it'll be able to hold. So we're definitely going to be trying that out once we get him out here. So yeah, but that's it for all the accessories. So let's take a closer look at the General himself. Before we get him into the, you know, the stances and everything, so that we can get a closer look, I decided to just bring him out so you can see just how he looks in the pieces. So this is the detail on one of the arms, and it looks like it should be pretty easy as far as getting it locked into place. So we'll try that shortly. Articulation, you got range of motion there. Same for the other arm. And these are on a ball joint, just like that being able to move around. It looks like it's a little bit restricted. We'll mess with that in a moment. My assumption, which we're going to test it out when we actually get them all together, but my assumption is these pieces may be magnetic as well for the hand, so that they'll be able to easily hold each lightsaber as you place it into his hands. But we'll go ahead and we'll check it out. I like the detail on that there. That looks pretty good. So the nice thing about this figure, I'm not sure if that was, that was the intention, but the figure itself, just the armor on it, I liked the way it looked, which is one of the reasons why I got it, because it almost had like the, a couple of porcelain pieces, or at least that's the appearance that it gave. It was porcelain. It looks like we got that piece together, but we just slapped that back together, and that looks okay. But yeah, these are the detail for the arms. But again, the armor, just the way it looks, I don't really think this is really weathering. I honestly think that it's, just kind of the type of armor that he had. Almost seemed like it was maybe like a porcelain or something like that, or bone, or something like bone on the outside. I am not 100% sure with General Grievous. I just thought he was a very unique character, so I thought it was pretty cool. So that's why I decided to get him. I did watch all of the Star Wars movies. I grew up on this stuff, so I'm not going to date myself as far as how old I am as far as these movies are concerned in comparison, but I'll just say that I did see all the movies. So let's see. Let's get this guy out. I'm going to be a bit careful. I already, just looking at this guy, because he's not a solid body, I'm already going to use a level of caution with this, because he just looks delicate. And even having him, in hand a little bit, kind of fishing with this stuff, it almost kind of feels like I don't want to do too much because of just how this figure is designed. So I'm not going to be too rough with this guy. But I would say, just right off the bat, I'd say he looks really good. I have seen a couple of pictures, and I saw a few videos of how the old one looked. And I obviously didn't get a chance to get that one, so this was a nice opportunity for me to get the new one. But I think it looks pretty good. So you can see detail on the face there. I like the little bit of, kind of a gloss in the eyes to, make him look organic. And some nice detail here in the chest. I want to say, in comparison between the two, I don't know, the inside almost looks like a lower quality plastic. It could all just be exactly the same, and it's just how the other one was done. But it just looks like the inside might be, I don't know, not as high of a quality as far as the outside. The outside, you can see kind of a little bit of weathering on the arms and everything, so you can kind of see a little bit of that. But the inside, it seems like there's really nothing to it, even though it's just as exposed as this piece. But there doesn't seem to be any weathering here. But as far as the neck is concerned, you can see pretty deep in there. You can see all the detail in the neck. All around the collar, looks really good. So yeah, let's actually get him into a stance so you can see how he is all put together. Let's check that out. Okay, so here we have him standing up, and I'm gonna tell you now, straight from my first impressions from this, just for the few minutes that I've had it, this guy feels very delicate. The plastic that they used, I mean, it's pretty thick in certain areas, but for the most part, it's just feels, as I'm using it, it feels very fragile. So you definitely want to be careful with this figure when you have it. I know when you get things from Sideshow or whatever, they have a pretty good policy when it comes to doing replacement parts and everything. Nothing has broken since I've had it, so that's not an issue. But I'm just saying, when you do have this, he feels very, very delicate. I apologize now for the awkward pose I have him in. Normally I put these guys in some pretty dynamic poses, but literally this guy is still fresh out the box. I'm not 100% familiar with how the pieces are. I can tell that there are some pieces that are on ball joints, and then there are other pieces that are on ratchets. So when you move certain spots, it'll actually lock into place a little bit. But it's, in some areas, it's very difficult to determine. Even though you see the ball joints and everything, it's a little bit difficult in some areas to determine what moves and what doesn't move. But overall, it looks good. I mean, it looks like you can get them in, you know, in some pretty good poses. It's just that as you're doing it, you need to be very careful as you are moving him around, because you do not want to run the risk of, you know, breaking anything like that, especially if you've had him for a while and, you know, you want to move him again and stuff like that. The fingers have articulation, which I'll show you this here. You can see there's articulation in the fingers, so that is good. And like I said, we're going to go ahead and put some lightsabers in his hand so we can see how that looks. But he's very, very delicate when it comes to posing him and moving him around. So we're going to go ahead and do a little bit, see what kind of poses we can get him in, and then we'll jump straight into the photography. As far as the cape, you know what, actually I noticed one cool little thing about this cape here. You can see that there's actually a hidden Mickey in the cloak there. Let's see if we can get it to focus a little bit. You see there's a little hidden Mickey right there, because, you know, Star Wars is Disney, just the same as Marvel and everything else. So yeah, you got a nice little hidden Mickey there. So anyway, I'll go ahead and put this on so you can see how it looks with the cape on him. I just put on there just so you can see how far it goes down, how it drapes over, and like I said, then we're gonna, you know, get him into some better poses than what I have. But for the purpose of just seeing how far it comes down, you can see how that looks. So it looks good. It looks very well done, especially the cape, just the material of it. The fabric and everything looks really good. But it's the figure itself, like I said, it's a great piece, but it causes you, as you're holding in your hand, and when you get this, you understand what I mean. When you have this in hand and you're trying to move the pieces around, just how it looks in hand, you'll think about how you're moving it, because it'll just force you to be very careful with it so that you don't break anything off as far as the joints and everything, because you will not like that when that happens, especially considering how much you paid for them. So let's go ahead and try to get him into some poses. I'm going to remove these arms and let's see what he looks like with the arms off and with the other arms on. Okay, and here we have him in the pose where he has some lightsabers in his hand. It was just like I thought it would be as far as having the magnets. So there are magnets in each hand, and they easily just go right into place when you put the lightsabers into his hands. They just go right in, and basically just take the fingers and you wrap them around him, and it ends up looking pretty good. Still, when it came to removing the arms and replacing the arms, is also very delicate. You have to be, when you're removing them. You know what, I'll show you that now, just so for you can see, because there are obviously no instructions when it comes to Sideshow figures and some of them. So I'm going to show you now just how to remove it, because again, you just have to be very, very careful. So this area right here, that's where you remove the arm, and you basically kind of have to, like I said, be very delicate with it. I just kind of just wiggle it back and forth, and that's how it comes out. And then when you take the other one and place it in, you place it, there's the hole right there, that's what you place it into, that's the joint, and you literally just slide it right in. Again, you have to be very delicate with it, but you wiggle a little bit and it will go in. Now if you try to remove it, because this has happened while I was trying to change the arms out, when you try to remove it, this piece sometimes comes out. It came out while I was moving it, or at least now it's not coming out, but the pieces will sometimes come out. But you basically just grab from here. That's the best place to grab it. You grab it from here and then just twist back and forth just a little bit and it'll come out. And then you go ahead and take the other piece, and again you go right back to that one spot and place them through. Oop. See, being careful. Place it right back into the hole there, and it'll actually go in pretty good. Again, just be very careful with this thing because this is very, very delicate. I mean, for the people who made it, they may think that no, you don't have to be as delicate as it is. You can do these things, but for me, I don't know all the quality that that went into this. This is again fresh out of the box, so I'm just being very careful with this whole plastic because it just feels that way. It feels like you have to be, but overall, I'd say it looks pretty good. This may be a little bit stiff, but it's actually on a ratchet, so you just have to be careful when you're moving it around. But and it's that's the other thing, is part of it, because of the ratchets. Some of the ratchets are very strong and they almost feel like they're working against you, to where it feels like it's not supposed to go that way. But you can clearly see in some of the joints, you can see that they look like they can move around. It's just that you have to be very careful how you move it. Like if I was to move this arm, I wouldn't be trying to move it from here. I would literally go right where the joint is, and that is where I would move it. And that's just the best thing to do, just so that you are careful with your figure. So yeah, other than that, I'd say it looks good. I mean, once you get into the a pose that you want and everything, it's pretty sturdy and everything like that. So it's a cool piece. So just for a size comparison, just so you'll know just how big this guy is, I'm going to get another figure out here, and that way you can see just the size between the two. So let's check that out. So here we go for a height comparison. You can see the size between the two. This is the Mythos Obi-Wan and the size of General Grievous. You can see just the height difference in the two. I would say it's pretty accurate between the two. But you can see just the size of it. And again, I had to let you know, I cannot stress this enough, just how delicate this guy is. Literally, when I was trying to just take those arms off and put the other ones back on, again, I was just being very cautious with that. Even when trying to get him to stand, just be extremely careful with him. But you can see overall the size is great. As far as all the poses, like if you ever gone to Sideshow's website and seen the poses that you have this guy in, I have no doubt that you can get him into those poses. Just be very careful as you're doing it. This, I did not notice any magnets in this as far as the staff and him holding it. I didn't really feel for any magnets in there, but as far as the lightsabers were, they were definitely there. It's also magnetic as far as the head. So there's a couple of magnet pieces to hold him in place there, so you can kind of move him around, and if he comes off, he's just fine. It just magnet just pops right back on. So yeah, that's overall, that's our guy General Grievous. So he's a great figure, definitely great. I love the detail in it. I love the fact that because there are so many different joints, you can put them in a number of different poses. And that's great. That in itself is wonderful, because especially for me, when I'm taking my pictures, I love to be able to have a wide range of motion when it comes to my figures, so I can put them in all different kind of poses wherever my imagination takes me. So it's good to have a figure like that. It just makes me nervous to put this figure together and have him put him in all those different poses. So I think we have harped on that enough. Let's go ahead and jump right into the photos and see what we can do with General Grievous.